Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Her Woman Evolves. I am Pari, your host, and I am so excited today because I have the wonderful Shobha Rajpal, who is my dear friend and who is an image consultant at St. John Knits in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hi, Shobha.
Hi, Corey.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. I have so many questions that I have to ask you. I wrote them down, so pardon me if I refer to them. I just don't want to miss anything. I had the wonderful opportunity of meeting you a few years ago, not too long after Mom and I came to the Charlotte area from Charlotte and Chicago, respectively.
Yes.
And I met you just walking through
Yes.
the mall,
Yes.
and I landed upon St. John Knits, your boutique, yes, and you were amazing.
Oh.
You actually provided me with this wonderful piece that I'm wearing.
Yes.
So
Yes.
listen, tell us about you. Tell us about Shobha and Her Woman Evolves.
Not much to tell, but I am from Pakistan, so I came in, I think it was 97 into Chicago for my graduate school.
Okay.
So my background is in architecture. Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that. I'm learning something already.
I know. So I did my undergrad in architecture back in Pakistan, in Karachi, where my parents are still there. And then I got married. I came to Chicago. And to create, long story short, I hadn't worked for at least 10 years. So when I started my family, my son, and so I decided to be a stay-at-home mom and enjoyed every minute of it. And then by the time I was ready to go back to work, the architecture field kind of had moved on. So it was really difficult for me. It was actually disheartening to go back into the field because I realized there's so much of it that I did not know, and the choice was either go back to school or then to figure it out what I wanted to do. And so the retail kind of started as more of, just something that won't take too much of my time. I will enjoy. I think I'm borderline shopaholic myself. So
I think you are too.
And I somehow foolishly thought that if I helped others shop, it would cure me. It hasn't. So I started with just, with Tiffany, and it kind of, I got the bug. There was something so satisfying about helping the clients who came in to understand their needs and what they were looking for. And there was definitely my architecture background helped with it, because in architecture you're made to think to listen, to understand what the client that comes to you wants, and to read between the lines as well, because they may say that this is how I want my space to be, but they talk about what their lifestyle is, and then you figure it out that's what would work best for them. And that's when, I think in any sales position, and that kind of talent or that sort of ear helps you.
I think that's really fascinating. It's about leveraging your strengths, right, and your skill sets. Because, as you know, I am both lawyer and musician.
Yes.
And most people would think that those two professions are really diametrically opposed. And so I'm really happy to hear you say that architecture was very similar to image consulting or retail, kind of thing. So I think that's very, very fascinating. Because we don't do boxes.
Yes,
we don't. We leverage all our strengths and we bring them together. And as a matter of fact, when I met you, you were a sales associate, and since then you have swiftly moved up the ranks into management. So I want to take the opportunity to say congratulations.
Thank you.
One of the things that I really appreciate about you and your style is the importance of relationship building.
Yes.
I will say, without calling the name of this particular retail store, I remember going into a particular boutique, high-end boutique, And because I had decided to take a day off
Yes.
of my corporate job,
Yes.
I decided to throw on a pair of jeans, heels,
Yes.
and purse, and
Yes.
walk into a store, and I was not given the time of day. And that was completely fine because I
Yes.
believe in the power of your dollar. You
Yes.
just take it somewhere else,
Yes.
kind of thing.
Yes.
And of course, I know who I am.
Yes.
But I remember distinctly walking into St. John
Yes.
Knits
Yes.
one day and running into you, and you were just instantly on. I
Yes.
mean, you started relationship building from the day
Yes.
I walked in, from the moment
Yes.
you saw me. You offered me a glass of champagne.
Yes.
And I'm hooked.
Yes.
Whatever you got, I'm selling. And,
Yes.
and I just think that's really important
Yes.
because you have nurtured the relationship that
Yes.
you've built over the years. And I know
Yes.
that you do that with your other clients
Yes.
as well. Can you just speak about the importance of relationship building in your work?
I think for me, when you came in, like it starts out as whoever in any kind of establishment, when you have a business, when someone comes, it's an honor. It's honor that someone thinks about you, and that's like either it's a small business or a corporate that they chose you when there's so many options.
Yeah.
So someone steps in, that's first thing. You take care of it. You take care, make sure you make them feel very welcome. I treat St. John Boutique as my living room. Someone comes to my house, and I'm going to make sure they're very comfortable, that their glasses are full. If they're hungry or if they want something, like I would provide and make, so that's the first step. So when you came in, I think for me it was that, just to say hello and make sure if you wanted some water. And the relationship then builds on a connection.
Sure.
I mean, I think, I don't even remember, because since then you and I have met so many times that I don't remember what clicked. I just remember that you made me laugh. I was like, you were joking, and you had such a wonderful grace about you. It was so much fun bringing outfits for you. You wore them so well. And I didn't care if you walked away with anything or not. I really genuinely didn't. That you did, I was very excited because it's fun to see someone looking, and I don't think clothes make it the man. I think clothes enhances what you already are.
Exactly. I completely agree with that. And I think that's something that just resonates with women, period. No matter what your profession, no matter what the industry, if the relationship building component is not there, it certainly has a negative effect, in my opinion, on the success of the relationship.
Yes.
I know in my role, in my various corporate jobs, it was really important to have that servant leadership mentality with my clients. And you're right, there is a connection, because if you stop and really think about investing in the person, there's a connection.
There has to be a connection.
Carries you forward. So it's no secret that St. John's Boutique caters to women. Right? And so when you think about a woman, I have two questions to ask you on this. So one is, first of all, with respect to the whole her woman evolved and women evolved. Why do you think that's so important for us to be talking about that? Women of different backgrounds, of different ethnicities and nationalities. Why is that so important from your perspective?
I think we get so lost in, like, we are nurturers. Women are nurturers. I think it's so easy for us to neglect ourselves.
Ooh, that's right.
I mean, it's like when it's your parents, you want to please them. When it's your husband, you want to adapt to what they want you to be. And when it's your kid, you pretty much give up your life. It's not expected. It's such an inane kind of nature of a woman that if I eat anything, I think about, did my son eat it? So so when that happens, I think we stop thinking about it, and you don't realize it. Not that I think it's an egotistical or vanity that you need to think about. I feel like when you take care of yourself, you take care of others better.
That's so true. That's
Yes.
true. And now we've all flown. Right? We've
Yes.
been on an airplane.
Yes.
And you know when the pilot comes
Yes.
on, it's just like, you know, in the event of,
Yes.
what is it, air pressure
Yes.
dropping, you know, your oxygen mask
Yes.
will fall. But what does he say? Or she
But
says, put your mask on first.
Yes.
Before you try
Yes.
to assist those around
Yes.
you. And I think that is so important,
Yes.
particularly for us as women,
Yes.
because you're right, Shobha. We are nurtured,
Yes.
and we put everyone else first, and
yes.
then ourselves. We find ourselves
Last
on the list,
Absolutely.
and it's okay because in my culture, and,
Yes.
and perhaps in yours
Absolutely.
as well, you it's selflessness that's
Yes.
admired.
Yes.
Right? You're supposed to put
Yes.
everybody else first, but I think that I call it the aviator's warning. I think
Yes.
that is really, really important because what good really can you be to someone else if you're exhausted?
Oh,
right? If you haven't taken care of yourself. So I think that's so powerful
Yes.
that you speak to that, and kind of sharing our story
Yes.
helps us
Yes.
understand that, you know,
Yes.
we're not the only ones
We're
experiencing
not. Yes.
a
Yes.
particular thing. I think
Yes.
that's really, really
Yes.
fascinating. So that's great. I think that's great. And what do you think with St. John's being catering to women?
Yes.
How does that play into the whole a woman evolve?
Yes. I mean, I've been, I think, over 5 years with St. John, and then I've had clients who started from the beginning, and you know, it's going strong, and I see myself like being there. Not you as particular. I think you were very self-aware. You know, you're very much in touch with yourself. But I had clients who thought of themselves as secondary in amazing positions that they probably made. You know, the compensation was more than many of the men out there, but they could not justify spending on themselves. So I remember one of my clients, and she was, buying a gown for her son's wedding, and she could not, she bought it, but then she got these cute shoes, and she says she was kind of worried that they were very expensive and stuff, but they weren't. Again, it's such a relative, but the point being is she could have afforded the best.
Yeah.
And I kind of helped her, or I like to think, I feel like that's also, you give yourself too much importance, that it's okay to do it, to indulge yourself and get something. And now I see that she takes such pride in what she does. She loves it, she's embraced it. I think, I don't know how to put it, sometimes, there's a matching. You're a person, you're in people who are comfortable in a certain, say, weight. They are in the body weight. But I feel like there needs to be matching. So if you are that in a leadership role and you dress up in a certain way that maybe someone doesn't take you seriously, but if someone just slightly helps you navigate and puts it together, it clicks.
That's interesting because my mom used to say that her dad used to say, you have to dress the part.
Yes,
you have
absolutely.
to dress. But I think imagery, and I think confidence also, like you're saying, it plays a part. And if sometimes we don't think ourselves worthy, right? We can't justify. We have to rationalize going over and over. Now we all understand budget. Well, some of us understand.
Oh, absolutely.
Some of us
no,
don't.
and I meant to say that you don't have to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think it's put together. I comfortably buy clothes from Target as I would buy from any designer label, and it's
something within.
It's something within. It's what your personality is. What works. It's just putting it together sometimes, and I don't think. Not everybody has it, and there's nothing wrong with it, but we can't deny the fact, when we just talked about someone not paying attention, that we are judged by our appearances. We are put in our boxes. And not to say that you should change yourself just to appease that or to avoid it, but play the game.
That's
Like-
interesting.
Like why
That's
dilute it?
interesting.
Yes. So
You know what? That is so interesting because it reminds me of something that I talk about in my Elite Career Accelerator program. I talk about perception.
yes,
And perception is very, very important.
yes,
You don't always have to buy into the perception,
yes,
but you need to understand it and then independently
Yes.
determine whether that perception is important enough for you to
Yes.
address it.
yes,
Particularly if that person has some kind of responsibility for your trajectory,
Yes.
your growth, and your
Yes.
development.
Yes.
And you can make the decision
Yes.
whether you want to address that. But it is important to understand
yes,
perception. I will say that I am a big proponent of knowing yourself and being comfortable in your own skin,
Yes.
right? And not feeling that you have to
yes,
conform to this or
Yes.
that, but you have the power
yes,
to make the decision
Yes.
whether you want to
Yes.
address
Yes.
a particular perception. So thank you
Yes.
for bringing that up. I want to ask one more thing before we go to commercial break. We talked a lot about Shobha professionally.
yes.
Talk a little bit, to the extent that you would like, about personally. What are you up to? What are you doing consistent with your whole evolution in terms of, things that you're involved in, community
Yes.
service?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
You always think you want to do something, and you're one of those, like, you never get time to do it. So I kind of got pulled into, with the city of Charlotte, they had started this inclusive program where they wanted to diversify the companies or the small businesses that were working with them. So this was for a small business, minority women group, and it was more catered to that. And I was asked to be on the advisory board for it.
Oh.
Now, this was, one of the heads of the Asian Chamber of Commerce who asked me. And part of me felt, again, you have to play the part. I think the language was a barrier for them. So I think they knew I've been with them, around them, worked, and I'd gotten back into the profession. I knew what the challenges were. But I felt like they got me because I smoothly moved into both Eastern and Western culture.
Oh.
So they,
Talk about diversity.
yes, so
Yeah.
they felt like I would be able to convey to them in their language what the challenges to the Asian community and women especially were. So that was very satisfying to be sitting in that group and to help the city make certain decisions and changes. As any government organization, there's
Sure.
such a red tapeism. I don't know if anything was done. I had like a four-year tenure as that, and then I stepped out. But in that process, one of the girls who, again, they were from different countries of Asia. She and we thought about starting a group called Aviva, and that was Asian American woman entrepreneur. And that was, I think, for the first time, I realized my strengths, realized the privilege I've had of education, and then to have it, to share it with others. And again, it was part of it, how you speak, how you dress, the skills you need to know. I realized it's not what your credentials are, your education. It's literally your presentation that gets you a job or makes you successful in your business or not.
Interesting.
But obviously, if you have a presentation but you don't have a product, it won't go far.
Yeah,
but
sure,
if you do have a product, you need to have a presentation.
Absolutely.
So I think that, of course, COVID kind of created a little lull for us. So, but that has been, very close to my heart, to be able to do that. And of course, I'm very invested in young people, in light of, politically and socially what's happening in the US. That affects me. My son is all American, and obviously he is a minority.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't think of himself as
Mhm,
that.
mhm.
So that is another that I know I want to be part of that conversation. I still don't know how I can contribute to it. But that's something that we started with my son. We have conversation with his friends. Because I feel like we don't invest enough in our youth.
I love it. I love it.
So
It's important.
It
It's
is.
the future, right?
It is the future, and like it or not, our focus need to be on the boys. I mean, we have been, with so important. Which of course there's the glass ceiling. I mean, like the girls need to get there, but I feel like if you don't, bring up your son to be respectful, to be mindful, to have a compassion, to have that open-minded, to be in that place that he's not threatened by women, that the women's power is his power. And I feel like that's what sometimes can also make a huge impact. We used to jokingly, my dad used to say all the wars were started by men. So I was like, if you want to stop the wars, then you make
Bring
sure.
the women. Engage
Bring the
women.
women, So that, a little all over the place, but I've never, Dr. C, and I've often talked about it, or she's mentioned that you should know what you want, but I've never known what I want, but I think I've kept myself open to opportunities. So I don't rush through it. It has happened organically. So I feel like it's my intent to be part of it, and I think some opening will come, and I will be.
And you're evolving.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
And on that note, we will take a quick commercial break, and we will be
Excellent.
right back with my friend Shobha Rajpal.
Thank you.